Hello all and welcome back to AI and Games Plus. Tommy here. I'm slowly recovering from my past week at the Game Developers Conference, which takes place over in San Francisco, and in this video we're going to dig into a little bit of my time there and some of the experiences I had and some of my thoughts and reflections on the whole thing. If you're not familiar, GDC is a hot pot of game developers, business managers, tech providers, industry advocates, academics and more all smushed into the downtown area of San Francisco. It's the Soulsborns of games conferences, a twisted and often maddening concoction that transforms several city blocks into an area teeming with talks, tech demos, business presentations, roundtables, award ceremonies, sponsored sessions, social gatherings and more. This is only my second time at GDC, and given my responsibilities as AI Summit Advisor and business needs as an independent consultant, it transforms the event into an endurance race as I fight my way from meeting to meeting or talk to talk, all the while trying to find a coffee and sandwich worth consuming that doesn't set me back $30 in the process. Nonetheless, it's a wonderful time to reconnect with so many people from across the sector, but of course it's a little difficult to be too enthusiastic about the games industry right now. It's suffering from tremendous disruption, be it from short-sighted corporate reactions leading to thousands of developers losing their jobs, to poorly designed and aggressively advertised generative AI tools trying to replace the very humans kicked to the curb. So, let's unpack these events. I've recorded a lot of stuff as I went through, and then I'll add some extra musings and thoughts as we go through it all. Alright kids, hello, welcome. It's Sunday out in San Francisco. Model AI team is right behind me right now. We're down in Fisherman's Wharf, right down near the water bay, right down at the waterfront, in the kind of northern northeast point of San Francisco. It's the day before GDC starts. And to give you a little bit of insight to how all this works, is the team is chilling out and trying to acclimatise to time zones. Me, I've got another task to do. I'm going to be heading down to spend time with the rest of the organisers and speakers that we have at the AI Summit to attend the practice session that I missed last year, where all of our speakers get to hang out and get to practice all their talks before we go live tomorrow. So given that it's Sunday, the AI Summit doesn't start until tomorrow, but we actually have another job that myself and the rest of the advisory team, but also the community, bands together to do. So we're here right now in the Marriott Hotel, literally across the road from the Moscone. And what we're doing is all of our speakers are getting a chance to do a dry run of their talk in advance. They get to hang out, give their presentation, ask for any immediate feedback that we might have, because it's collectively, we all want to make sure that the talk is as good as possible and that everyone really enjoys it. So it's designed to be a very chill, relaxed, social affair, and also just people get to meet each other, sometimes for the first time. In fact, some of the speakers that are here, we literally don't get to meet them in person or even know what they look like until they come in the room. So yeah, today's very chill, very relaxed. Everyone gets to practice their talks if they want, get some feedback if they want, and then hopefully everything's ready for when everything kicks off tomorrow, first thing in the morning. Oh god, jet lag. So here we go, yep, the AI Summit, it runs over the first 2 days. And it was a real challenge this year for a number of reasons, given we had a significant increase in the number of submissions to the summit compared to 2023. This increase is largely as a result of the interest in generative AI for games, though it's worth saying we rejected many a talk given they were not aimed at current and aspiring engineers, designers and system architects who are our primary audience at the event. The final programme was an interesting mixture of different areas of AI in the context of games, with a handful of talks focused on generative AI, most notably large language models, while the talk by Hilary Mason from Hidden Door was more in line with the expectations of building narrative and stories. Almost all the other LLM talks were trying to build something that wasn't text, with the likes of Julian Degelius of NYU and Model AI doing level generation, and then Trevor Santara and Pierre Arjundalaya from Unity showing how you can use LLMs to design behaviour trees. Meanwhile, we had some great talks on machine learning integration for games, notably Transitional Forms' Dante Camarena and Nick Counter talking about their game Little Learning Machines, which is a game that uses reinforcement learning as a mechanic, and that's out now on Steam. We're still finding new ways to integrate machine learning into games, and new ideas are still being explored across the industry. There were even more talks along these lines at the ML Summit, but I haven't had a chance to dig into them yet. But it's important to highlight that despite the big push for generative AI, and even machine learning, much of the summit was very much focused on classic game AI techniques, largely because those are the tools and standards used across the industry in a myriad of circumstances when crafting gameplay. Interestingly, probably the biggest talking point this year was navigation. We had talks on Hunt Showdown, Warframe, and Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League,
all with a focus on challenges in navigation. It highlights that while there are many new and exciting opportunities for AI in games, that by and large we're still trying to solve the same game design problems we were facing 20 years ago, only now they're on a much larger scale. Generative AI is all well and good, but it doesn't help with the things that AI programmers and games are actually stuck on.
Good morning everyone. It's day 2 of GDC. And actually, why am I wearing sunglasses? The sun isn't out yet. I'm just doing it largely to hide how freaking tired I am. Jet lag is really killing me. Keep waking up at like 5 AM. Anyway, so day 2, it's more of the same. So the AI Summit runs, this is our second and final day of the AI Summit. Got a whole bunch of really interesting talks. But I'm actually not going to make it for the first couple of hours. And I'm not entirely sure why yet. So I had an email about a week or so ago from some of the good folks over at Ubisoft, who I've worked with, if you remember, on my videos on Tom Clancy's The Division 2 and Watch Dogs Legion. And they reached out and said, we've got a special event running on the Tuesday, and we think it's something you'll be really interested in, and we'd love for you to be there. But we can't tell you what it is yet. So I'm heading down there. It starts in about an hour. I guess we'll just find out when we get there what's going down. I have a sneaking suspicion though, it's something to do with artificial intelligence for video games.
And true enough, I was right. No doubt by the time that you're watching this video, you might have been aware of how Ubisoft made headlines with their latest foray into the adoption of generative AI techniques for games, their Neo NPC, which is an extension of existing work by InWorld to try and make in-game characters not just be capable of smart conversation, but be able to more successfully interface with the game world around them. So I'd been invited by the Neo team to come and check out the demo at a private event that they were running at GDC. I'm going to refrain from getting too much into the details here because I do want to make a separate video about my experiences, but the innovation that I found here is that with Neo they're trying to make conversations with NPCs have value. And while it is very early days, I think it largely achieves that. Neo is, as the team put it, a very early phase prototype on how to build more intelligent characters, but I thought it actually was quite compelling, and certainly more interesting than anything else I've tried today. Like I say, I will be releasing a follow-up video with more of my footage, that this is my footage you're seeing here of my demo as I played through it, but critically I'll be talking a little bit more about what I experienced and what my takeaways were from that event.
Well, good morning everyone. Here we are. It is day 3 of GDC. It is Wednesday morning. It is currently 7:45 AM and I'm already on site at the Moscone. This is also partially due to my jet lag. I've been getting up at like 5 AM because I'm having trouble sleeping. Also, you'll notice my voice is completely shot. Going to a few events and also just talking to so many people for the last 2 days, which is funny given I haven't gave a talk at the summit. So yeah, on that note, the AI Summit wrapped up yesterday. We had some fantastic talks on our day 2 with the likes of Hidden Door. We had Teresa Duringer, who has done some great work on training neural networks for card games and board games. We had the team from Suicide Squad come and talk about navigation stuff. We had oh god, I'm just trying to go back through it. We had AI on 4X games, courtesy of Oxide Games. We had also, we closed with Ubisoft's La Forge, talking about their use of machine learning bots, either as part of the gameplay production, like multiplayer onboarding, or they're actually doing it for QA purposes. So we had a really nice spread. I think all the talks were great this year, and I'm really proud of the overall program we put out this year. And you know, this is a team effort. It's not just myself, it's my other Summit advisors, Steve Rabin, Andrea Schell, Dugu Chakmak, Ahmed Khalifa. It is also Sam Warnk and the team at GDC, but also just a lot of what the AV team and the student are like the volunteer supporters who are there as GDC staff. They help support our speakers, they help just run the room, all this extra stuff that we don't have to do. We just have to focus on making sure that the content is good, our speakers are prepped and everything. So I'm really happy with it. And that's just part 1. So as you'll know if you watched the video that I made last year, the next thing that happens is Core opens up. So this is when the main track of talks begins. So I'm currently in the Moscone West building, which is like a block away from the main GDC hub area. And this is where all the talks happen. The summit talks happen here, core talks happen here as well. So there's going to be talks all through here. This place is going to fill up quite drastically in like an hour's time. Or maybe about 90 minutes, because the first talk won't be till about 9:30. And then also the Expo Floor will open up. I'll try and capture some footage of that. There's some footage that I shared last year when I came and did the vlog for GDC 2023. I'm not going to be on the show floor for a little while, because for me, the next things that are happening is some press and some interviews, or meetings, actually, business meetings. So, as you know, I work for myself now. The whole YouTube enterprise essentially helps support and advertise me as a consultant and somebody who can advise and support developers. So I have a meeting system that's all booked up, and just having a quick look at my schedule, I have 9 meetings today, from about 10 a.m. until about 3 in the afternoon. My phone just rang because I'm doing an interview for Le Monde, which is a fairly well-known newspaper in France. So I'm doing that in about 10 minutes. And then I'm going to attend the AI roundtables, which I also talked about briefly last year. Those are hosted by Neil Kirby. There's 3 of them. They run every day of core. So today is the AI expert session. They are deliberately broken up into specific topics. So tomorrow is a beginners meeting as well. So I've got my press interview, and then I've got a whole bunch of meetings. I'm hoping to go to the AI roundtable. There's also a couple of talks that I have singled out as stuff that I would like to try and get to. That actually found some of these, I know that we actually saw them, the themes or topics were brought up over the AI summit, but they weren't a good fit for us. So things like safety, for use of AI in context of game development and working for online games. Also like a panel on AI and copyright, which was submitted to us, and we said, well, it's not ideal for us because our summit is actually aimed at engineers rather than the broader field. Like an engineer now, nine times out of 10 doesn't need to know about the legal ramifications of using an AI as part of their game, because they're working in a studio where someone is responsible for that job. So we rejected it at the time, but we clearly pointed out we don't reject this because it's a bad idea. We reject it because it's not a fit for us, but it could be a great fit for somewhere else in the conference. So I'm going to try and go to those if I can. But yeah, I've got a bunch of meetings, and then critically, also I managed to squeeze in a couple of catch-ups with some colleagues and some friends who I just haven't had a chance to see. And I've passed so many people in hallways or in streets in the past day or so, be it colleagues from the community, clients that I've previously worked for, and even actually a couple of fans of the YouTube show or members of our Discord community. We bumped into each other very briefly, and then it's sometimes it's literally just I'm running to another thing. It's ships passing in the night, but we're passing each other, and it's like, let's meet up, grab a coffee or something, like either later today or tomorrow or Friday. So the next couple of days it gets a bit crazy. Model AI are down on the Expo floor. I am going to go and try and go down and visit them, because I like the guys over at Model. They're good fun, and it's always nice to hang out with them. So we'll try and pop down and see them when I can. But yeah, I got an interview in about 8 minutes, so I need to go and prep. All right, Tommy, narrate some footage for the next segment of this video. Let's do this. Alrighty, good morning everyone. It's GDC, it's day 4. Day 4 of actual GDC, or actually it's technically day 2 of actual GDC, but it's day 5 of my time here in San Francisco. So hanging out in the Yerba Buena Gardens, which I talked about last year. It's very quiet at the moment because it's only like 9 a.m. and even then, as you've seen from some of the footage there, it's actually already, it's filling up, there's people here. So I talked about this last year. The Yerba Buena Gardens is basically GDC outside of GDC. A lot of people come down here and hang out, just to catch up or whatever else. I bumped into a whole bunch of people in the last couple of days just here alone, notably Emily Short, Will Overgaard, aka the Viking Blonde, who we just had on the podcast not that long ago. and actually had a brief chat with Rami Ismail, who I haven't seen in a little while either. So I think it actually also serves a very critical secondary function. I talked about this last year, that a lot of people go to GDC but can't afford to go to GDC. The actual pass is incredibly expensive, and I get out of that because I don't work for GDC, but I volunteer to help run the AI Summit, and that in turn gets me a free pass. So I only have to really factor in my flights, accommodation, all that sort of stuff, which is still crazy expensive. But especially now, given, as we know, tens of thousands of people have lost their jobs in the sector, you'd think there'd be greater opportunity for them to go in and actually meet people in the Expo Floor, a place that I still haven't actually visited yet. I'm going to do it later today. So this place, this park, actually becomes a really important part of the tapestry of GDC, because this is where so many people who just want to be able to connect with their peers, maybe reconnect with friends actually that they have in this space, they come and hang out here. This ends up becoming just as big a part, as critical a part of GDC as the actual main events that take place all around the Moscone Centre. And it's frustrating, because you think surely all these people that are out of work, and I bumped into a couple of people who I know who have lost their job, and they're here just hoping that they can connect with people and kind of with a bit of solidarity, or even maybe find something. And then others who'd managed to bounce back in a relatively short period of time, which was great. But yeah, the park is busier this year than last, and I wonder how much of that is coming down to the state of the industry and people just wanting a sense of connection, really. You know, the industry grew very rapidly, but also spread out. We're doing more and more remote work, where how many of us are actually in studios. You know, even myself, like the bulk of the work I don't do day to day in a studio with others. So for me, coming to this is also really edifying, because I get to catch up with an awful lot of people. In fact, some people, I'm literally going for coffee right now to meet with someone who until 2 days ago, I have not seen in 8 years, but was someone that was actually really critically important to my academic career, and someone I saw very much on the regular. But yeah, I think it's really worth just highlighting that as much as we look at the footage that I'll show you of the expo floor, of the convention halls, I didn't take photos at the parties, or I don't record the parties because I don't think that's appropriate. But even maybe photographs, or even some footage of last night, for example, where I was at the IGFs, the Independent Game Festival Awards, and then also the Game Developers Choice Awards. It's a very dramatic difference between the spectacle of being able to sit at a VIP table as games get recognition versus all this space, which in about 2 to 3 hours time is going to be full of game developers. They might not have game developer on their resume right now because there isn't anything to show, but they are still, at the end of the day, they're a game developer. They're a game developer in between games. I don't know why I decided to record this. It was just something, as I was coming through the park. This is probably about the 12th time I've came through here in the last 3 days. And now that I've been here, like I say, this is my second time at the event, I'm beginning to realise just how important this space is. Even though I get to spend very little time here. I think I probably spent all in about 40 minutes here yesterday. Despite the fact, when you saw me yesterday, I was getting ready over in the Moscone West to go and give an interview to a French newspaper. My week makes absolutely zero sense. So yeah, what is on today? For me, it's mostly meetings, a couple more, some round tables. I actually got really good sleep last night, which has helped me a lot. And then it is the Level 99 party tonight. That is the party in which all the speakers and advisors go. It's actually, last year it was my favourite party. It was so good to meet a whole bunch of people in the industry who I've known of for many, many years, and just have a 30-second chat and just say, hey, look, really appreciate the work you do, really enjoy the work you do, thank you so much. And some of them actually have became friends off the back of that, which was really wonderful. So yeah, I actually feel pretty good today. Yesterday I was barely hanging on. After you saw me in the footage, I was dying. But yeah, and already, look, see, it's actually filling up. More game devs are arriving. It's crazy. So, what time is it actually? Yeah, I'm supposed to be going for a coffee meeting in 5 minutes. I'm going to stop talking. I'm going to turn off the recorder, and I'm going to get to work. Happy Friday. This is day 5. Day 3 of actual GDC, day 5 when you include the summits, day 6 of my time here. And in San Francisco, I am increasingly weathered. I look more and more like a beat up handbag at this point. I mean, Jesus Christ. But we're nearly done. So last night was I had a whole bunch of meetings yesterday, actually. First of all, I went to the AI roundtable, and then we had the speaker party, which is really good fun. That's the second year in a row I've went. I had a really good time chatting with a bunch of people, some folk from our summit, some folk from further afield. I actually had a really good chat with some of the guys on the Spider-Man 2 team. And who knows, we might be able to get them to come and help us out with a Spider-Man 2 episode down the line somewhere. But anyway, so I haven't actually spent a huge amount of time on the Expo Floor. And if you'll recall from last year, the Expo Floor is this huge space it's actually underground in the Moscone Centre. So right now, we're actually, if you just quickly have a look up, that's the street above me. That's actually the main road that carves through the Moscone space. So we actually come down to this underground area, and it's about the size of like a couple of football fields. It's a pretty big area, and I would argue certainly there's more people here than there were last year. Like certainly I think there's more booths, or actually bigger booths have been put together. I haven't even been up to the top end. Like last year, if you remember the footage, I showed you this was things like Meta, Unity, Unreal are all up that end. I haven't even got that far yet because I've been busy. Lots of meetings this year. Like actually the number of meetings I've had this year is increased significantly versus last, which I can't complain. That's a good sign. But also there's a lot of AI here. Last year we still had a lot of the crypto people kicking about. They've kind of fell away, he says as he walks past a crypto booth really quietly. But yeah, there are. So of course Model AI are here, and I'm helping out a little bit on the booth today, just due to people are tired, everything else. They need someone who's going to come in and help out a little bit with some of the staffing. Oh, yeah, there we go. What did I say? Yeah, they're still here. They haven't got the fucking memo yet. Anyway, but yeah, there's a lot more AI stuff here now. Last year we had a little bit of it, but like, you know, smaller teams doing plugins and tools, and then actually critically some of the increasingly bigger players in the space. So of course you will remember InWorld, who I did a video on their tech last year. Oh, there they are. I haven't had a chance to go over and chat to them and to see what they're working on, but yeah, and I think that's probably one of the notable differences this year is I'm seeing more AI related stuff. Quality of it, open to debate. Value of it, most certainly open to debate. And I think we're going to keep going through this for a little while, because for every like genuine, legitimate, interesting application, there's also just meh. But this is exactly the same that happened with crypto, right? A lot of money comes in, a lot of people try to carve out a piece of the pie, right? They want a bit of the space. And then it's a case of whether or not they can pull it off. But I think it's important to say it is more than just this. It's also about games partners, service providers. It's about representation for different countries as well. So talking about service providers, there is Keywords. Keywords is actually becoming, and it probably is now, one of the biggest outsourcing providers in the entire industry. I also have the pleasure of knowing their AI, some of the people over at AI over there, who are good people. They're looking at machine learning and generative stuff, but also they do a lot of just good old-fashioned game AI, and they're now one of the largest like AI outsourcing teams in the entire sector. It's absolutely crazy. But I've actually finally made it into the North Hall, and yeah, I just saw there's like a booth over there representing the German games industry, and we had French and India down the hall. I think I mentioned that last year, but yeah, it's a thing, it happens. So I'm actually really fortunate because, where did my pass go? Did I take it off? I must have taken it off or something. Because I'm staff, technically, I get to come in here early. And so that's been really cool and really helpful for me, because it means I get to wander around here and not be interrupted. Although I have to admit, at this point, given I have at some point taken my pass off and I totally forgot I'd done it, if I get stopped by security at this point, I'm going to have to either go back to my booth or they're going to eject me. So I should maybe go and sort that out. How did that happen? That's weird. Oh yep, there's Godot. There we go. Well, that's a bigger booth for them than last year. That's cool. Oh, and there's the German games industry. So yeah, what's on the docket for today? More meetings. I have a handful of meetings. I'm helping out at the AI booth. And then tonight is the AI dinner. So we did this last year. It's a thing that happens every year courtesy of Neil Kirby, who is a long-time member of the community. He runs this annual dinner, which is partially subsidized, I believe, by the IGDA, but also it's a fundraising event. So on one hand, it's an opportunity for a lot of people who are maybe juniors or couldn't afford to come to GDC, because some of them actually get grants and the like, and bursaries to allow them to get here. And then one of those benefits is they get to come to the dinner, because the dinner's not a lot of money. It's like I say, it's subsidized, but the important part is that we try to encourage so many of these new people in the space to come to the dinner, because they get to meet us. You know, so you got all these students and people who are maybe just trying to carve out and they're trying to make a name for themselves, and they get to hang out with people who work at a variety of AAA studios, people that work at a variety of big tech companies, senior professors at a bunch of universities, and this idiot. So there's the Unreal booth. I need to go back and get a t-shirt in a little bit. Anyway, I have now managed to do successfully an entire lap. Look at this. Strada's almost got her shit together while I've been away, you know. And then Jamie, there we go. See? Managed to get her shit together in the 9 minutes I managed to do this lap, so there we go. Okay, let's do this. Here we are again, back out in the Yerba Buena Gardens. We're halfway through day 5. I'm flagging a lot from the last time I spoke to you in video format a mere couple of hours ago, but we're hoping things will improve. Actually, remember how I said, we haven't actually properly captured this, remember how I said the park does get really busy? Well, when I recorded here on Thursday, it was very early in the morning, and I think it was Thursday? I don't know, time has no meaning, I honestly don't remember at this point. But here's what I'm talking about the community that fosters around this park. That's a whole lot of game developers right there. That's a whole lot of gaming. Right. I'm actually here on a quest. By the time you hear this, by the time you watch this, we'll have recorded and launched the episode of Branching Factor that we're about to do. I'm looking for George. George is here. George has been here all week. I think George has actually been here as long as I have. I'm pretty sure he's been here since like Saturday. We have not seen each other the whole time, and I think that really kind of, you know, puts into perspective the size and scale of this thing. You can go an entire week, and like sometimes you maybe see people who you bumped into them at one point and then you just happen to bump into them again. So I just noticed, you know, Xalavier Nelson from Strange Scaffold is right over there. We actually had a very quick conversation out over at the Game Developer Choice Awards, because we actually have some shared connections. So, and I literally tripped over Jörg Reisig, who was the AI programmer on Spec Ops The Line. You might remember that episode from a few years back. Right where I'm standing, actually, I was walking across the park from here to there, and he was just sun lounging, and I'm just like, Jörg, is that you? I haven't seen him in person, I think since maybe 2017, 2018, back when because he was working on his indie project, The Fermi Paradox. Still in early access on Steam, go and check it out. So, I gotta find George.
Don't worry, I found him, and go and check out the episode on branching factor, where we had a nice 30-minute chat about our collective experience throughout the week at GDC.
GDC's officially over. It shut down 17 minutes and 12 seconds ago. It actually finishes at GDC actually finishes at like 3 o'clock on the Friday. And so you saw already when I was recording, I showed you the Expo Floor. One of the things that I didn't talk about last year, which I thought would be really fun to share, is how quickly this whole thing comes apart. So like I said, GDC officially shut down 17 minutes ago.
Whole parts of this are now fully exposed. This all had backing on it. There was actually stalls over there. Some of those stalls are still standing, but already there's crews out, stuff is being dismantled.
Now, I'm going to walk along a little bit and we can see some of this happening in action. And I think it could have really, the point I'm trying to make here is just how ruthlessly efficient this enterprise is, because you can be in here, like I said, 20 minutes ago GDC was still running, and now suddenly entire booths are gone.
Stuff is being dismantled.
Everything is going away, and actually we won't be here for this because I'm going to leave in like 2 minutes and go and get a beer. But the bigger stuff that you can see over here,
You know, like these bigger stalls and like the stuff hanging from the
ceiling, in like, I'd say about 30 minutes based on last year's experience, cranes are going to start coming into this amphitheatre and start pulling these things down. And then interestingly, it also depends on who owns the stall and whether they want to use it again. So Model of AI, for example, who we just saw their stall getting dismantled, they actually used the same stall as they did last year. Oh, hang on, they're putting down safety
material on the carpet.
And this is so they can start wheeling in the heavy equipment.
You are still in the hall. We respectfully ask that you exit the hall immediately.
Yeah, that's them telling you if you're an attendee, you shouldn't be in here. It's done. I get away with it because technically I'm actually event staff, so I'm allowed to be here until somebody tells me off, no doubt. But, so all these big booths that you see here, let's check some of this out.
There's in world again.
Avalanche. Some of these will get packed up and then they'll ship them off back to wherever they're going. Some of them, and I saw this last year and I was really blown away when I saw it, just get absolutely fucking wrecked and taken apart and destroyed because they paid all that money just for it to exist at this event. And so it's done, it's gone. And I remember seeing one of these like big stalls like literally getting broken up, smashed apart, because it was easier to do that than actually take it apart in a more, you know, intelligent and economic way. So yeah, here we go.
Again, more protective material, and that's mostly
Protective floor covering so that they can start getting all the big equipment in to start taking all this stuff down. But yeah, I just thought I'd share this because I realised last year I ended up sitting in here last year for like 2 hours with the Model AI crew because we had to wait on a particular crew to come and help with the dismantling of the stall. And just watching, so this is, like I said, it's 3:20 now. By 5 o'clock, half of this will be gone. Like the vast majority of what you see right now, right all around me, will be gone. It is amazing how quickly they take this apart. And you know, full props to the team, the professionals who come in and do this. This is not only a lot of work, but it's like really interesting, like how carefully coordinated it is, and like every individual has a plot that they start at and they start working their way around. The other funny thing, which this happens with a lot of stalls, and I only found out this out again last year. A lot of the stalls, like look at all these screens, right? Lots of screens. A lot of the companies, depending on the size of them, don't actually bring the screens with them. So you see these here, you know, they'll maybe rent them from a local company, but more often than not, what they all do is they just go, there's a Target round the corner, and they all just buy them on their company cards, take them out, use them, and then when they're finished, they put them back in the box and they return them. Like, it's crazy. So yeah, literally, like, I feel sorry for whoever works at like the local Target and Best Buy, as they just get besieged by all these people just returning these monitors that they've owned for roughly, like, I don't know, 3.5 days. All right, we're back. The model team is looking a little tired at this point. A little tired.
Like my last card.
Everyone's looking a little tired. Some very well-deserved beers, I think, up ahead for them. And yeah, we'll wrap it up there. I don't even have anything to say at this point. Let's just fucking go. Let's just turn this camera off. Bye.